What's up, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Champion School. Champion School, we're sitting down with some of the brightest minds of the game, chatting a little life, chatting a little sports. I'm Ray McIntire and joined by nobody today. This is just me. We're taking a little bit of a breather. We're going to be hitting a clip show today, and then tomorrow's going to be, or next week will be off, and then we'll reset and we'll get back into a typical Champion School schedule. You know, where we're releasing every Sunday and coming out with some more guests, which we have some great guests lined up moving into MLB season here. So make sure you check that out. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. It really helps us out, and you'll be able to get all of our up-to-date content. In terms of today, first of all, I just want to thank everybody that's come on as a guest for us. So many great people: Bianca Smith, Scott Strickland, Brewer Hicklin, Ronnie Burnick, Kellen Lee, Tyson Ross, Tyler Zombro, Ty Buttrey, Ryan O'Haron, Tyler Zuber, Will Klein. I mean, it goes on and on. Brian O'Connor with UVA. There's so many people. So, first of all, thank you guys all for joining us. There's many more that I didn't list, so thank you all as well. And we're going to get into this clip show. It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be kind of squeeze them all together when they're all a little bit like-minded stuff. So bear with us. It feels like it's bouncing around a little bit, especially for you listeners. But I think you're going to get a lot out of today because there's a lot of great one-liners and content in there that's well worth the listen. So we're going to start off with our why. And you know, we always talk about the why as being our foundation, and every athlete, I feel like, needs to know what their why is. And it's really the first thing we teach and work with groups on is getting that base and foundation set. So we're going to dive into a couple clips from some people that we've listened to, including Tyson Ross, Brian O'Connor, and Jake Wiskerson. There we go.
No, good, bad, or the other. I knew that's all I could control was my effort into it and the passion and drive. You know, there's days where I wake up and I'm sick and I'm like, man, I'd love to just lay in bed and watch TV all day, but you know, that's not going to get me better. So that's basically my driving force, is knowing at the end of this thing, I'm going to have to be able to look myself in the mirror and know that I put everything I have into it. And that's why I got the results that I got. And, you know, once I had that mindset, that was part of that switch being flipped, and, you know, I put the Xbox controller down and started getting to work. And, you know, that's, you know, looking back, I've had ups and downs, but I am where I am today because I've had that mindset.
Just to let you guys on a little inside team building stuff, we're in the process right now in our preseason of having each staff member and each player, a few of them every day at the end of practice, stand in front of our group and do a team share, and they actually answer 3 questions. The second question that they answer is their why. Why do they do what they do? Why do they play baseball? What's their inspiration? And I think it's important when we're talking about culture and we're dealing with, you know, young men in a group, that we all understand where we coming from, right? And what motivates us. And, you know, I can tell you, for me, that, like, you brought up the national championship, man. I'm licking my lips. I want another crack at one of those. Certainly that's a motivator, but you know, it's a real why I got into this business. And that's the impact that you can have on people, right? The impact that the way they think, the way Jim Hendry impacted, the way that I think as a player, as a person, the profound impact that you can have on a coach, as a coach to a player. Now that might end up having a 10-year career in the big leagues. That would be wonderful. Most of them, it doesn't. Most of them, you're impacting the way they think, the way they attack things, their competitiveness, the way they treat teammates, the way they rise up in challenging situations. It's learned, and that's the opportunity you have.
When you have that solid foundation, as you progress through levels, yeah, you can make tweaks and you can change things, but like, that's the one thing that you know will be there. It doesn't matter if I'm in Bowling Green, that's our high A team, and I get called up to Montgomery. I still know what I need to do to prepare. Everything is different, but I know what I need to do to give myself the best chance to succeed.
So anchor yourself in something and continue to remind yourself why you do what you do, where it comes from, and what your purpose is. I don't mean like necessarily a big life purpose or anything. That could be it for sure. But know why you do what you do from one day to the next, moment to moment, how you parent, how you conduct yourself in school, how you conduct yourself in your relationships. At least know why. I don't care what you do. I don't care how you dress. I don't care how many rings you have on your nose. Like, it doesn't matter. Know why you do it. And that'll put you in much better charge. So when somebody comes to you and goes, hey, why do you dress like that? Why do you have rings in your eyes? You can be like, well, because of blah, 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 right? You've already thought it through this lens of whatever it is you've chosen. That's how we're going to fight mental illness. Know where you originate, know where you're going, and be in charge of it.
So the why, obviously super important. I think all three of them had some good points to say about it in their own ways. And I think we all have our driving forces, and so make sure you're very clear with those and your direction. And I think that's a great piece there. So number two, though, once you get past your why, and especially on the coach's side, I think this is really key, but it works for any leader, is knowing that the relationship needs to come first, right? You need to build the relationship in order to build the trust. And when you have the trust, there is no limits on what you can accomplish as a group. So this next piece here, this little segment, is going to be based on all the relationships that have been grown, ways to build that with you and your team, or even you and your teammates. So let's dive into relationships.
Good program, and you have a good culture, in my opinion, it's just passed down, right? And it transcends from, 1 year to the next, and so those things live on, and they're passed on. And you've met some of our guys out there, and then you hear from those guys, hey, what was it like at Virginia? You said it earlier, what's that special sauce that's happened at this program versus somewhere else? And those really great programs, that's what they have. And so it takes a lot of work, like you said, the communication. I just believe that effective and successful people, let me tell you, when they're effective and successful, they get very frustrated with people who don't value communication. Oof. Right? And so you, as the leader and as the leaders of the program, the coaches and things like that, we've got to go out of our way to make sure we communicate with them constantly. What are our standards? What are our expectations? And that starts when they're 15, man.
Man, how's it going? And there's been some tears that have flown over the last 18 years that I've done this, because they do have a transition. It's a huge transition from high school to college. And when mom and dad hug you and kiss you and close that door and leave, oh no, a lot of kids, it hits kids differently. Everyone's homesick at some point. And some are a bunch and some are very little, but everybody feels a little bit. So I learned that very early on, that just talking to the freshmen one-on-one, coming in the office, let's sit down, it's 10 or 15 minutes. We end up talking about baseball because that's what we are. But hey, man, how are your classes? How's the dorm? How are your roommates? How's your mom and dad doing? Start talking about that, get to know them a little bit better, but also just making sure they're doing okay, because we all know, man, it's rocky.
I think the other piece of the mental part is really connecting with your players one-on-one. They have to know you care about them as a coach. They have to know that you care about them beyond just their performance on the field. And that takes a lot of time to spend time off the field with them and develop that one-on-one time to get to know them. I feel like as a staff, we invest in them tremendously as people, professional development. If they have to miss practice because there's a certain class they need to take, all of those are ways that we can show we're truly invested in you.
The ability to create a connection, to sign a contract somewhere, that comes back so heavily to relationships and just how you've carried yourself so far. For instance, with me, when I signed with the Rays, one of my teammates at George Mason, Ryan Ritchie, his dad, Chuck Ritchie, is a national cross checker. The area guy, Lou Wieben, who had covered, we'd spoken a few times on the phone. And when I was prompted the question if I wanted to sign or not, it was to go to Florida to the GCL to fill innings. It wasn't a glamorous opportunity by any means, but I think because of my character and how our conversations had went, he's like, okay, I know this guy will sign. He'll go down there. He'll do what we need to do. Again, it's not glamorous, but he'll step in with where we need. So that just relationship and general conversations that we had probably led a lot to that opportunity.
So I shared that with him, and no joke, the next day, I think I went 3 for 4, 2 home runs, game 1 an RBI, home run. It's just crazy, and I don't think that's coincidence. I think that's just like, the feeling that we get, the freedom that we get, and I was just playing so with chains on my back. It was really hard for me to enjoy it and see, that life's good. And once I was able to like just release that and realize that like just a game, man, like who really cares, you know? And you put so much time and sweat and sacrifice into it. So like, obviously you're going to get frustrated, but at the end of the day, like the people that love you still love you regardless of how you do. And that's the perspective that I took. And I wouldn't change a thing about it. I mean, when I look back from the last year, like I'm glad that I played so bad because I'm able to learn from it, and I'll take that into the rest of my life and the rest of my career, because at the end of the day, it's probably going to happen again, you know?
Love what Coach Strickland said, you know, talking about sitting players down and doing that. The one-on-one meetings are just so important, and I really find it beneficial for you to sit down and talk with them about life outside of the sport. When you can get that base and even just intro into that, first of all, you'll get that part out of the way, right? So the player's not sitting there thinking about, you know, family or girlfriend or whatever. And you get to open the door to, hey, this isn't just baseball. This isn't just sports. This is life. This is you and me working on the same level. We're both people. Both are really important, and I think it's really cool that, you know, a coach in the SEC is just like a coach you're going to see at your local high school if they're doing it right. You know, they're just trying to build a relationship. So this next segment, we're going to talk a little limiting beliefs. We had a couple people bring it up. I know it had been mentioned actually probably in multiple podcasts by us. But for me, just to kind of hit on it, limiting beliefs, I think, is one of the biggest contributing factors to kids not having confidence going into sports, outside of sports, at school, whatever. And those are learned. I truly believe that, hey, any kid grows up thinking they can do anything, and it's other people or life situations that come up that make them start believing they can't. So limiting beliefs are something we like to try and fight really, really strongly against here at Major League University. And we talk about it at every camp we're at, whether it's Project Sandlot or Major League University's camps. We're in there saying, hey, you can do anything, and if you truly believe it and you work hard enough and you have the drive, you can make it happen. So let's dive into a couple things on limiting beliefs. We have Will Klein and Zach Nerriere going to hit on that.
Dude, it's a liability for probably 75% plus of these kids, and nobody realizes the kind of damage they're doing to themselves and how limiting they are with their beliefs. You know, like I played in fear and stress the whole time growing up, even into college and even pro ball. Like we talk about it all the time most of the time. You know, like dang, bro, like we're just putting so much pressure on ourselves when we don't need to.
It is a way I like to look at it is what lens do we see the world through? If I think about bifocals, I'm changing them through, right? What lens am I seeing it through? And some of us see it through different lenses every day. And so for each one of us, just be aware of ourselves, see things for what they are, and then be grateful for what we have. There's so many people in worse off positions. Not that should be something we tout, but something that we recognize that we're really lucky, right? To be where we are, to have the health that we have, to be able to walk and run and move and just be alive is huge, and have health. So perspective, man, it's been a big deal for me this at least new year so far, and I think for a lot of us, we're starting to see it through the last couple of years that we've been experiencing and shaping our perspective of our own lives.
I just want to be like the best pitcher there has been. Like, you know, like I know I'm not there yet, but like if you beat yourself every day, if you get a little bit better every day, like you beat that guy and you tell him that you can't do another rep, you can't throw harder, you can't like be better at baseball, like stuff like that. Like if you keep beating that guy, then you're gonna be the best that you can be. At least like some guys are gonna have physical limitations, stuff like that, but you can't let your mind be one of those. And so I just like trying to keep going, trying to keep pushing myself and not letting my mind at least hold me back.
Listening to it back, Will Klein was one of my favorite interviews. Just such a humble dude, and all those guys from the Royals, you know, big shout out to Jared Perkins, who's been able to line those up. He has a little bit more of a Royals background, but every one of those guys in that organization has been so awesome just to sit down and talk with, and just so down to earth and humble. So a lot of those dudes, some of them have stepped in and gotten some time in the big leagues, some haven't. But I think all of those guys are on the right track, and we wish them all the best of luck. And again, thank you all for sitting down with us. That's been so amazing. 2 more segments. Number 1, this advice section. This is my favorite segment because we've gotten so much of it. I wanted to kind of string it all together as just bits of advice if you're talking to your younger self, or even anybody coming up in the high school, college ranks. Advice to the younger athletes out there and people. So this is going to be a little bit longer. There's about 10, 12 pieces of advice, but all of them are great pieces of advice and things that we can all learn for. Even good reminders for people like myself that talks about it all the time, So let's dive into the advice piece and we'll bring it back around.
Why not? You're going to get no's all the time. Yes, it only takes that one yes. But for all of those no's, why? Why not? Why didn't I get the job? Why? What can I do better? How can I get to the point where you can't say no? And then again, when you hear somebody say you can't do something, well, why not? If it hasn't been proven that it's impossible, then you never know unless you try.
We want to get to these levels, whether it's a really good business or successful, whether it's being a professional athlete or even college athlete, winning a championship. And it all starts with that one step. And it's like a really small step too. It all starts with just getting out of your comfort zone, being bold and courageous and moving in the right direction. And we might not know the right direction every time, but if we take steps forward, if we just keep moving our feet, we're going to get to where we want to be eventually in our life.
Failure is going to come at whatever point it does in your career. You got to use it as a tool. Like that's a navigation saying, hey, this way that you're going, that's not working. You got to learn how to pivot and make an adjustment. And so I had the privilege of learning at the big league level, which, those lessons were hard fought because you can see every single mistake I made is on the back of a baseball card. It was on the highlights the next day of me giving up homers and things. But, that's what you want to learn is how to get the best out. And sometimes you got to learn how to fail first before you learn how to succeed.
It's cool to see the kids just light up. And that's one of the things that I want them to understand is like, I had a team that I was helping with on Sunday. They asked me to come speak to their guys. And I'm like, who here has failed? And they're all like, yeah, I failed. I'm like, well, who's failed 70% of the time? And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, the MVP last year failed 70% of the time. Yeah. The best player in baseball failed 70% of the time. Like, you're not that guy, so you're going to fail 70% of the time. And I'm like, what kind of teammate are you when you fail? And that's, the lessons that I try to teach these kids, because I remember being that kid and pouting and being a sore loser and crying when I lost. That doesn't get you anywhere. I don't remember a single game when I was 10 years old. I don't remember if I got a home run or, struck out. I don't know. So it's like, guys, just have fun, man. The friendships you remember forever. We're not going to remember that time you struck out. I can promise you.
Yeah. The biggest thing is running your own race to be the best version of yourself. And I know that's something that I was caught up in multiple times through college. I had a great career at George Mason, but there were definitely times where I'm a sinker baller. Maybe I'm trying to throw more four seams to flash a number on the gun. Like that stress of, am I impressing this scout today? Things that are really out of your control. And I think, some of my, I guess, worst mental moments in terms of how I viewed the game was a lot of comparative nature in myself to guys who were getting opportunities when I was not. I'll never forget, junior and senior year draft days. You watch all those names go by on the ticker and you're saying, I'm better than that guy. I'm better than that guy. I'm better than that guy. And you say, and this happens in pro ball.
These are always longer games than you think, I think Mike Tyson's trainer used to say, you always imagine your first time opponent as bigger, stronger, and faster than they really are, right? Because we just put this thing out there that like, gosh, this is a scary monster, but game's not over, man. It's always a long, long game. And you just stay the course. Like you said, 1% better, as Jay talks about every day. And you're going to wind up where you want to be if you start looking at the big picture versus the immediate wins and losses. So
where we currently are, the future is not going to be where it needs to be. So you got to take care of where you are, and you have to have goals and you have to have ambition. But if you're so worried about getting to the next step that you forget where you are and you're not taking care of your business where your feet are currently, then you're not going to have success. So, my best advice is to do the best absolute job at what you're doing, no matter what that is. If it's the worst job in the world, and I think we've all had bad jobs. And if we do a really bad job at that bad job, I'm not getting the better one. Why would someone give me a better job if I can't even do the bad job right? So do the absolute best job you can at whatever job that is. And it's amazing how things work out. Success isn't guaranteed. But I tell you what's guaranteed, not having success is guaranteed if you don't take care of your business where you currently are.
Like you said, every player is unique. Every player and coach needs something different, but there are all those like generalities and foundations across the board. And start with the basics. Just help them understand that when they focus on the right thing at the right time, it allows their full physical potential to show up more consistently. And what that looks like for each player could be a wide range of skills or techniques. But at the end of the day, having them identify what they need to think about, what they need to focus on in a particular moment, or whether it's training or performing, it really doesn't matter. The same principle applies. If we're focusing on the right thing at the right time, we're more likely to perform to our full potential.
Talking to ourselves versus listening to ourselves, very important. If we can learn to talk to ourselves more, coach ourselves up, be our own best friend instead of be our own worst enemy, we're going to get through a lot of these situations a heck of a lot easier. So that's something we encourage our athletes to do.
Anyone says to you, the only opinion that matters is your own. That's the only opinion that matters. Everything that's inside of you, you have to let everything kind of fuel that fire inside of you, basically, and help that pursue what you want in life.
These are always longer games than you think, I think Mike Tyson's trainer used to say, you always imagine your first time opponent as bigger, stronger, and faster than they really are, right? Because we just put this thing out there that like, gosh, this is a scary monster, but game's not over, man. It's always a long, long game. And you just stay the course. Like you said, 1% better, as Jay talks about every day. And you're going to wind up where you want to be if you start looking at the big picture versus the immediate wins and losses. So
believe in what you're doing. That includes your routine, your scouting report, what the hitting coach says before the game. And then when it's time to make it happen, you can't go out there and play timid. It's no regrets. You let it fly, and whatever happens, that's what happens.
There's no truer statement in baseball than confidence is king. You show me a player with confidence and you got a shot.
Your perception of how you internalize those moments. You can see it. You can see it as all eyes on me and I have to get this done, and it can feel like pressure. Or you can look at it on the flip side of how incredible is this opportunity to be playing in front of all of these people, and I get to be the one in this moment to get the job done for my team. And so I think for me as a player, it was really that mental toughness piece and that wanting the ball, wanting the opportunity in those big moments.
It really does go back to the whole idea that you have to 100% love it. 100% you have to love the game, and you got to have fun, because at some point, whether it's college or professional, there's a job and a business behind it, unfortunately. And there's a grind to it too. And so you really do have to love the game and have a ton of fun in the game. And that's the one thing I see with these guys that really, really make it, is they love everything about the process, the work, the grind, the lifting. They love everything about it. And so the business side of it is what they leave to agents and other people that are qualified to do that.
You still gotta have fun. You still gotta want to play the game. Like, it can't be like you dread to go to the field every day. Like, man, I wish I didn't have to go. Like, no, you want to go. You want to have the attitude that you're having fun every time. Like, be the guy that your teammates want to go play for. If you're having fun out there, they're gonna have fun out there too.
A young kid that sees this or watches this video or hears this message, it's be a kid. Like, be a kid that goes out there, that when they play the game of baseball, it's like playing a video game. You get mad for 5 minutes. You guys, I'm sure, played Call of Duty. You get mad for 5 minutes, you throw the controller, you whine, but you can turn the switch off like that after 5-10 minutes. For me, I couldn't turn the switch off for days after. Days I was thinking about a bad performance, because my whole life was consumed on being this MLB player and making $100 million versus being a guy that just was in the moment, that played the game for fun.
If you don't have anything going on with your life, one of your friends may have something, just listen. That's all. It's not hard. Anybody can listen, right? Yeah. You don't have to have the advice. You don't have to have the words and the answers, but just be a friend to lend an ear. And I'm sure a lot of people that are listening to this, they may not be the guy that's struggling with something internally, but I can guarantee you there's somebody they know that is. And it's their job to make sure that person knows that they're available to listen. Yeah. They don't have to have the answers, because sometimes when you just speak it out to somebody else, you figure out the answer within yourself. And that was what I found out was I don't need to change anything I'm doing. I just need to change the way that I'm thinking.
Yep.
I'm already doing the right thing. Just change the way that I'm thinking. And people don't realize how powerful your mind is. And that's something that it truly is, like, perspective, like how you perceive what's going on. And there's two lenses that you can look through life. You can look through poor pitiful me, or you can look through it from God's given me this day, and I'm going to take this day and I'm going to be thankful for this. And most of the days I try to take that approach. Life happens, things get sped up, we lose our foundation at times, but at the end of the day, it all comes back down to the core of just being grateful for what you have.
So many good pieces of advice, and a lot that I think that these people have taken the time out of their days to sit down and talk with us and share this advice with you guys. This is why they're doing it. I mean, they're not getting paid. We're not getting paid for this either. So it's just more of a way to provide value. And I think every one of these people that sat down with us did that in one way or another. So thank you so much. I think there's some good points you can take from that. I think the one that stands out to me the most is probably Coach Young with Duke, who's very passionate, first of all, and is talking about wanting the ball in the big moments and not feeling the pressure like it's the end of the world or I need to succeed, but it's an opportunity. And we always have these opportunities in front of us. A lot of times we see, it go sideways where we fail and we start to not want that opportunity anymore. But hey, embrace it. It's a chance. You're put in that position for a moment. You get a chance to make something happen for your team, and no one's going to look down on you if you don't, because, hey, if we're talking baseball, softball, it's a game of failure in general. In life, you have to fail to continue to push forward. So, yeah, awesome advice across the board from all of our speakers. We can't thank you all enough for sitting down and listening, first of all, and then for all of our guests, again, I've said it a million times. Thank you so much for joining us, taking the time out of your days, your busy schedules. I mean, we had multiple coaches going into the first week of college baseball season sit down with us right before they did that, and I know how stressful and crazy that time could be. So you guys are awesome. Thank you all for listening. We're going to take a break next week as a reminder. There will be no podcast. We're going to be off, but we'll be back at it full swing coming out that the week afterwards. So 2 weeks from when you're listening to this, we'll be back and rocking and rolling. So we're going to break these into kind of 4-month segments. Throughout the year, we'll do these clip shows and recaps 3 times throughout the year, and then take little breathers 3 times throughout the year. So MajorLeagueUniversity.com. If you're looking to get any gear, we just had a major sale going, and if it's Sunday, you're listening to this Sunday, you still have a chance. So there's a window at MajorLeagueUniversity.com/merchandise. That's going to be all of our gear. It's going to be discounted hats like this. There's also a lot of Project Sandlot gear. We haven't actually gotten ours in yet. It's going to be coming soon. I'm excited about it, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Those will all be out here on those websites. And then if you're looking to support, we've been talking about it a lot, if you're looking to support Project Sandlot Youth Sports, you have kids in youth sports and you see the benefit, we are selling NFTs to do this. So the NFT is basically going to be a ticket to like a fantasy league that you don't have to do anything for. You'll just get scored out, and we'll keep it posted on that. And then the money from that is going straight into help kids that can't pay for camps when we're out on these camp circuits. And we happen to run into kids like that a lot, so unfortunately they're in a tough situation. We just want to help out. So if you're willing to help us, that is the route to do it. If you don't like crypto, NFTs, post stuff, that's totally good. Let us know. We're going to work on setting up a direct credit card link to where you can just sponsor a kid, and help out. So Ray McIntire, Austin Byler, Jared Perkins, Nick Viola, again, coming to you from Major League University and Project Sandlot. We can't thank you enough for hanging with us. We hope you have a blessed 2 weeks.